baseball is dead.
Rest in peace.
It's a Thursday. Final episode of the regular season?
Yes.
Right.
Well,
Monday.
No.
Monday.
Now.
Monday.
No.
Yeah, we'll have Monday. Monday will be the put a bow on it episode, and also a postseason preview episode.
Well, it depends on what time we record on Monday, right? Because
we
now
can do a Tuesday bonus.
Now Major League Baseball has put us, I mean, most importantly us, but the sport and the Mets and the Braves in kind of a tough spot here.
A very tough spot. Kevin Clancy posted a video about this. Made a lot of great points. And yeah, I mean, I feel bad for Braves and Mets fans. I mean, that's a huge series. And I mean, but you know, you're at the mercy. I feel like the discussion is, so like Kevin's main point was, why don't they add some buffer days in for weather purposes for situations like this, versus the larger conversation where like it's never going to happen, but like every ballpark should have a dome.
Yeah, I understand the dome point. I also just kind of put that aside because it's like literally never going to happen, as you said.
No.
Kev had some good points about the scheduling. I would also say I saw Dave O'Brien, who's obviously tied in with the Braves side for a long time. He was tweeting too that like Major League Baseball is consistently slow to act on items that need quick action. And, you know, I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be a meteorologist. Perhaps we could get, you know, Steve on the pod if we need that sort of perspective. But Dave O'Brien's point was that they knew the path of the hurricane 4 to 5 days out, and proactive measures would have set up a situation where these teams, where it wasn't so jammed together. It wasn't so obviously putting the Braves and Mets in tough spots with their seasons potentially on the line. So, you know, that's not surprising to me that Major League Baseball was a little bit slow on this one and reactive instead of proactive. I also am a little bit sympathetic to their end as well, because, you know, you don't want to mess with the schedule and the home and away dynamic if you absolutely don't have to. And I'm sure there's enough gray area here where both sides would argue that they were being acting responsibly. But either way, it's going to set up Monday potentially to be an absolutely chaotic situation.
And if they don't need the second game, they're not going to play the second game, is what I'm told.
That's my understanding as well.
Yeah. So there's a chance it's not even a doubleheader after all this hullabaloo. But you mentioned being proactive. I feel like everyone needs to be proactive about downloading the Underdog Fantasy app.
I would assume so.
Yeah, because the playoffs is Tuesday, October 1st. The wild card games will be having the streams ripping and roaring. Everyone's going to be throwing picks all over the damn place. I got some picks too for today. But the Underdog Fantasy app, it's the easiest place to play fantasy sports. Playing their pick'em game is as simple as selecting higher or lower on player stats, strikeouts, total bases, home runs, and so much more. Make entries of all baseball, or you can mix and match across your other favorite sports. You can win up to 100 times your money, and it's a ton of fun. My picks today, I know I went Salvador Perez because I believe the Royals are going up against Patrick Corbin. So Salvi doing a great job against left-handed pitchers, and today he faces a left-handed pitcher that has had some struggles in Patrick Corbin. What?
Few years worth of struggles.
And then I went Fernando Tatis Jr. These are both hires for 1.5 total bases. Fernando Tatis Jr. is enjoying himself some right-handed pitching. One of the best hitters in baseball from a slugging percentage standpoint against right-handed pitching. He will see Walker Buehler tonight in LA, who has an ERA of over 5.5. So I don't want to say I'm playing it safe. I think I'm playing it smart with these picks.
Yeah, my immediate reaction to these picks is that I'm ready to give them a full stamp of approval. I like these selections a lot. I wasn't quite as enthusiastic as what we had going on yesterday. I believe there was I think, like Jordan Walker's name was tossed around and things like that. I think this is, proverbially getting back to your roots.
Going for it.
You know what I mean? Remembering who you are, staying
Not
in
trying
your
to get
hot
too
zone.
cute.
Yeah, exactly. So I think your justifications are sound. And if any listener, I can't imagine there's a listener of our podcast who doesn't have the Underdog Fantasy app downloaded. But if you don't, and you are going to do that right now, it's promo code Jared.
It's promo code Jared to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash and a special pick on Underdog. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code Jared. That's Jared. Today's the day to get in. Those are the picks.
Yesterday was the day to get in.
Yes.
Today's the second best day.
Today is, there's never been a better day than the current day.
That's right.
Get in. Today's also a very special
every
day.
day is the first day of the rest of your life with Underdog Fantasy app.
That's correct. That's absolutely correct. Today's a very special day. As you'll notice, Dallas Braden not with us today. It is the final day at the Coliseum, the final home game for the Oakland A's at the Coliseum. So Dallas is balls deep in all that over there. Our very own Justin Havens is, I'm sure by the time you're listening to this, the video has already dropped.
Yes.
A new video essay that is honoring the Oakland Athletics, not the Philadelphia A's. This is the Oakland A's. We're not talking Vegas. We're not talking Sacramento. This is about the Oakland goddamn A's on their special day, which is today. It's a bittersweet day. It's actually, it's not bittersweet at all. It's just a very sad day. There's nothing sweet about it. It is going to be, I've already called it. Mike Emond is out there, our guy that does all of our vlog content. He's in Oakland. Got in last night, so he's going to be documenting the entire day with Dallas. And like I said, he has a knack for tugging at the heartstrings. He knows comedic timing, and he also knows how to showcase sentimental moments. And I feel like this entire video will be almost exclusively sentimental moments with sprinkled in with some tragedy, obviously. But who better to be the tour guide for the day than Dallas Braden? He is the face of the Oakland A's fan base. He is the broadcaster. He is the soundtrack to Oakland A's fans' baseball viewing experience. So that video, when it does drop, I feel like that is going to be the one that everyone kind of looks back on as the video of the year from the Underdog Baseball Boys.
Yeah, I sure hope so. And I think obviously you have the two guys working on it that you said, and in Dallas and Mike, you're going to get a lot of authentic content. And I think it would have been my hope with the two videos, the video essay that's coming out today, and then, down the line, is that, when people are looking for Oakland A's content, companion piece content, that they're going to come to our channel. And I know that, a lot of that's going on already with Dallas being a voice here, but I know I'm really proud of the video essay that's dropping. A lot of people, namely Jeremy, worked very hard on it as well. And while the focus is and should be on the field for the last game, I do, as I said, I hope it's a companion piece. I think this one is bittersweet. I think that's the way I would describe watching this one, because there's obviously the backdrop of this being the last game, and the whole idea of the essay is closing the book, as you said, on the Oakland era of baseball. Like, that started in 1968 and will conclude presumably in 2024. And there have been a lot of incredibly impressive team moments and accomplishments and player moments and accomplishments that I just felt like now was the time to remind some people, or to just let people kind of bask in that stuff all over again. And for me, as a baseball fan, I was rewatching it again today before we put it out, and just the sight of seeing all of the old video going back to the late 1960s and early 1970s, when they were obviously a dynastic team, through the 80s and into, the Bash brothers and Henderson and Dave Stewart and that championship era, into Moneyball, and into, individual great moments and spots beyond that as well. So up to present day and what's going on. So it doesn't get into, the negative. That's not what I'm here to do. That's not for this piece, at least. It just celebrates the Oakland athletics and the players that made that era such a special era for those fans and for baseball in general. I hope people watch it.
Oh, people are going to watch it. Yeah, we're going to pump the shit out of that thing. I'm sure you crushed it. I'm sure Jeremy crushed it, as you guys always do. Today's game scheduled against the Texas Rangers, 3:37 p.m. Eastern. I'll be locked in for that, obviously, on the A's broadcast. I think it's going to be one of those games where a couple off seasons ago, I threw a tweet out asking fans, like, what do you think are the most rewatchable games? Like, obviously a lot of postseason games are going to be the answer to that question, but I feel like today's game is going to be one of those games where, it's going to be January 3rd and you're sitting around, it's a Saturday and you miss baseball. I feel like today's one of those games that you're just going to throw on just for the ambiance, the crowd, and the broadcast. Obviously not to toot Dallas's horn, but I'm sure whatever comes across in the broadcast today, like, you're not going to want to miss it. It's going to basically be like a 3.5 hour podcast / eulogy. But I'm sure there's going to be a lot of reflection and remembrance of the good times. It doesn't have to be like, it's going to be a sad day, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot of, remembering the good times, which I was going to ask you, Jayhay, your favorite moment or your favorite Coliseum moment. I know we shared one together. We were there for the Sean Manaea no-hitter.
I mean, I think it would be a bit ridiculous for me to choose any other moment than the only no-hitter I've ever seen in person that also happened to be with the people that, I've helped build the podcast. It's just crazy that that's how that played out in basically the first full year that we ever did this stuff together. And, I guess technically the second season. And that would be number one. I mean, I think I've mentioned it before, but I think I still have a piece or two of the bubble gum. I still have some of the dirt. I gave some of that stuff to some of the closest baseball family members in my life, including my mother-in-law. It's dumb stuff. It's dirt and bubble gum, but it's like it was cool to be kind of in that moment in a game where obviously we didn't go in with those sorts of expectations. And so that would be number one. I mean, I obviously grew up at a time that aligned me pretty well with those Moneyball era athletics teams in terms of, my formative years of baseball fandom. And as a stats guy, that whole era and process of thinking fascinated me. But I would say without a doubt, I mean, I think the 20 game win streak is probably, obviously that's not a singular moment, but I remember that moment in time. And so I think that would be kind of a runner-up answer to Manaea's no-hitter. But the one I saw in person is definitely my choice.
Not fucking tomorrow! What about tonight? Tonight, Robin! Say something!
Fans were jacked up that night.
Yeah, they were. They were. And I mean, just to remind people, it was against the Red Sox.
It was. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The World Series champion Red Sox.
It had that. Yes, they would go on to be the World Series champions that year. Magical season for the Red Sox. I don't remember the exact date of that no-hitter, but it was April 14th, 2018 or something like that.
Like that, yeah.
And so it was pretty early on in the season, but it was that was damn cool. And I have not seen a no-hitter before or since. So
same. I came very close. I had tickets to Derek Lowe's no-hitter in 2002, but I chose to go to my game because it was like, if you missed a game, then you had to sit a game. So I was like, all right, I'm going. Then Derek Lowe ended up throwing a no-hitter. But yeah, I was at Mike Musina's near perfect game, which was like September 9th, 2001. Like, it was like right before 9/11, I'm pretty sure. I was at that one. So I've come close a couple times, but that's the only no-hitter that I've seen live in person.
I know people are going to be listening to this podcast and be like, wait a second, you're choosing Sean Manaea's no-hitter over the perfect game of the guy that you would go on to work with. And I just want to clarify that a little bit. Like, there's nothing A's related that I've rewatched more than the Dallas Braden no-hitter in completion and the Dallas Braden final out. So like that moment will elicit a reaction from me every time that no other A's clip possibly could. Like I can watch the highlight of the Sean Manaea clip and be like, I'm not emotional about that, right? But it's my favorite moment because I was there and I remember it happening in the moment. The Dallas Braden perfect game, so that was 2010. I would have been like basically just starting out in my like putting my foot into the baseball career, like media wise. And like, I remember that happening. I wasn't friends with Dallas at the time. Right. And I didn't know shit about him. I thought it was cool that he threw a perfect game and hugged his grandma, but like, I didn't know anything about his grandma. I didn't really know the background there. I didn't know Dallas, obviously. So going on to know him has made that moment incredibly special in hindsight. I love listening to the call. I love waiting for his hug. But you know, that's all after the fact.
Would have been very cool if we knew him at the time.
Yeah, I would have loved that. To know a guy who threw a perfect game would be so cool. You know, I know him after he threw it, which is the second coolest thing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's also like two completely different lives. Like,
oh yeah,
Dallas doesn't even look the same as
no.
It's like when I watch the highlights of Dallas Braden's perfect game, I'm like, I don't know that guy. You know, it's not even like when Brian Wilson had the beard and then now like whatever he looks like now, he looks like Jared Leto. But it's like, Dallas is just, he looks completely different too.
Yeah. He's hard to look at now, but I prefer the current look. At least he's leaned into it, you know?
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. He's owning it. I mentioned to you earlier, Jayhay, I'd like to try a little exercise with you that it does have to do with Dallas Braden.
Okay.
So I saw that, shout out to the Bat Boys. They're fucking great. I just ran into them at the All-Star game. I see them every year now at the MLB Combine. But yesterday they posted a video. Did you see this, by the way?
No.
Okay, so the Bat Boys, they do this to current players,
I know who they
former
are,
players.
but yeah.
Yeah, they'll be like, can you name the starting lineup from your major league debut? Like who was playing where? Do you think that you could take a crack at the starting lineup for Dallas Braden's major league debut?
Oh, gosh.
Will the date help you?
I mean, yes, I will take a crack at it.
April 24th, 2007.
All right. April 24th, 2007.
You can just go position by position. You don't have to go in order. That would be absurd.
Okay. Position. Yeah, order. I mean, order is never happening.
No.
Okay. So, gosh. All right. Okay. I mean, I'm going to start this. I'm going to start this off by
Danny Putnam. I'll give you in right field.
Holy shit.
You were never going to get that one. Everyone else, I feel like you could get. These are all very much recognizable names. Okay.
So I know with a high level of certainty that the shortstop was Bobby Crosby.
Correct.
Having just researched the piece, I'm pretty damn sure that Chavez was still at third at that time.
Correct.
Okay. So we have the left side of the infield.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go. I'm going to skip first base. I think
first base is a good skip because I believe Dallas says in the video it's the first time that he's ever played first base. He is I know him because he was the second baseman for the Boston Red Sox in 2003 and we loved him.
Oh, that's going to help. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good clue.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm still going to skip it for a second, but I have a better sense of who that might be now. Mark Ellis at second.
Mark
right?
Ellis was at second.
Okay. I don't think I'm going to be able to get the outfield alignment. I may be able to name some of the outfielders.
Well, you only need two.
Right, because you gave me Putnam.
Danny Putnam and Wright.
Yeah, of course. Who would forget?
Mhm. Two very recognizable names, though. They're not obscure. The center fielder and the left fielder are names that you absolutely know.
Okay.
And the DH, I know you know. The hint for the DH is like very obscure because you're like, wait, he played there? But
Oh, okay. It's Piazza.
yes.
Okay, so Piazza at DH.
Yep.
I'm gonna go. No offense to, I guess offense to him, but maybe the person that I've found most grating among MLB personalities I've actually met. We'll go Swisher in the outfield.
Nick Swisher was playing center field.
Okay.
So you need left field, first base, and catcher.
All right. I will admit I would not have gotten first base if not for your clue, but I think it's given that I think it's Todd Walker.
It is Todd Walker.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't have gotten that. So I need catcher and left field.
The left fielder broke up Curt Schilling's no-hit bid with 2 outs in the 9th inning in 2007, I want to say.
It's a pretty good clue. Feel like that
It was
should
the
do
only
it.
time that Curt Schilling shook off Jason Varitek that day, and he gave up a base hit with 2 outs in the 9th inning with a no-hitter to this guy.
How about you tell me what team they were playing at the time?
The A's. It was at
It was
the
while he
Coliseum.
was playing the A's. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Wait, so so he would have been in 2007, right? Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Let's skip
in
that for a second.
2007, this was his only season with the Oakland A's.
Well, magical one.
Mm-hmm. 14 years in the big leagues, all in the American League between 3 teams. Played 10 years with his first team, 4 years with the team that honestly I remember him the most for the second team that he played 4 years on. He played these 4 years from.
I know who it is. Because you've said this before, and I've like, why does he view it? Shannon Stewart. Yeah, I remember him firmly as a Blue Jay. That's funny.
I remember him as a Twin.
All right, and give me a clue on catcher.
Recognizable name. He played
Long
3
time
years in Oakland.
Okay.
3 years in Oakland from 2005 to 2007 before finishing his career with the Cubs, Brewers, and Royals.
Huh.
But
Okay.
is most known for playing with a National League team. Yeah, he was a 2-time, 3-time All-Star. His only All-Star selections were with this National League team.
Jason Kendall.
That is correct.
All right, that's not bad. That's not bad.
That's not bad at all.
I got like 5 or 6 with no hints and 2 or 3 with hints. That's
No
pretty good.
wrong guesses.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good. Yeah, Marco Scutaro, pinch hit for Nick Swisher.
In fairness, though, I would have had wrong guesses if not for the forthcoming clues. So I'm willing.
You would have been guessing first base for days without that clue.
Exactly. So I probably would have guessed like Mark Kotze at first base before I would have guessed Todd Walker. So we'll say no wrong guesses, but we'll call that like a 6 out of 8. I think.
No, that's
well,
better.
You gave me Putnam,
with
right. So
yes, yeah. But without, I mean, would you have even like? I didn't even know who Danny Putnam was. I've never even heard.
No. I literally, you could have given me infinity amounts of time on this podcast, and I never would have gotten Danny Putnam.
Yeah, no. But I had to give you the Todd Walker clue because the caveat that Dallas provided in the Bat Boys video was this was his first time playing first base at the big league level ever. So we would have been here forever.
Yeah, I think him, and I mean Putnam's a total non-starter. I think you also could have given me the whole day on Todd Walker, and I probably wouldn't have gotten him at first base either. But
yeah.
overall, a nice bounce back from, I think the last time we played Guess That Player, I lost. So good to be back.
Yeah, that was a big time comeback. Dallas Braden, in his big league debut, went 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts in an 86 pitch outing, 52 strikes, 6 ground balls, 8 fly balls, 2 line drives. Pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Good for Dallas. That's probably the best start of his career, right?
Yeah, it was probably, yeah. I'd say it would have to be. I don't know what could have topped that.
Never got better.
Never got better. Yeah, this is when Miguel Tejada was on the O's.
Good.
Dallas Braden gave up a triple in this game.
Oh God. Are you going to ask me who?
Yes. Who did Dallas Braden give up a triple to on the 2007 Baltimore Orioles? Put it this way. It's someone that he probably does not want to be linked to in any form or fashion. Like, would never want to see his name next to this person's name.
2007 Orioles, huh?
Mm-hmm. Not somebody known for speed either.
Wouldn't want to see his name linked with this player.
Nobody would. It's not a Dallas gripe. It's a baseball world gripe.
Jeez. Delman Young.
No, but good guess.
Did he even play for the Orioles?
I believe he did.
I'm going to admit that I have not given the 2007 Orioles much thought recently.
That's a team that
you want to give me a position?
DH. I believe Clay Buchholz no hit the 2007 Orioles.
Was I may be like way off even on years and teams, but did Elijah Dukes get a Baltimore Orioles run? I'm just going to keep naming disgraced Tampa Bay Rays prospects until I get one right.
Yeah, this is this person disgraced his name and legacy after his playing days.
Oh,
it was
Palmeiro.
No, he did it with Twitter. He took the shilling path. He did it with Twitter.
Oh, Jesus. Aubrey Huff. Oh, man. Yikes. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that guy. I honestly don't even give him any thought. I think I have him muted or something like that. But yeah,
I thought he deleted his account. Isn't he on like Truth Social now? Whatever the Trump thing is.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Maybe he's killing it on there. I'm not really sure.
Maybe he's killing it on there.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Shout out.
One place he's not killing is the Underdog Fantasy app, though. I feel like his picks probably can't be that good.
No, I would not follow Aubrey Huff's picks. I would not do it. I would. The picks we talked about earlier, a lot of confidence in Aubrey Huff's picks, put them in the garbage. But download the app, Underdog Fantasy, promo code Jared.
If you watch the video of the Phillies celebration when they clinched a playoff berth, the central message was have fun tonight, but we need to come back focus tomorrow because we need that first round bye. And last night, them Phils, they clinched that first round bye. I'm not going to sit here and say that the Phillies are a sleeper team. but I feel like a lot of people, because I mean, it's their own fault. The way that the Phillies have played in the second half has been very underwhelming. Like at certain points, they were like 3 games over 500 for the whole second half, have not played inspiring baseball, but I don't know which podcast it was, but I was listening to Buster Olney talk about not the Phillies, but the Astros, where, you know, certain guys may not be having the best year of their careers or whatever, but it's almost like they're bored. Like he was trying to compare the Houston Astros to the Yankees of the 90s, where they just knew they were going to the playoffs. And it's like, all right, you know, like we're going to do enough to win the division and get into the playoffs, but you're going to get a whole different gear that we can kick it into once we get to October. I feel like the Phillies deserve that sort of recognition as well. I don't know if you feel the same way, but the Astros, certainly the comparison that Buster made, spot on. Like the Houston Astros, to me, it's like, all right, say the Houston Astros win 90 games. I'm still terrified of them come October. It's just like they have a different cloak of aura about them when it comes to postseason games.
So I think it definitely applies to the Astros. I didn't hear Buster's conversation, but I would agree that is an apt comparison. I'm confused why people, I mean, I guess I'm not, because they went to the World Series and then the NLCS, but like the perception of the Phillies is kind of funny to me, because it's a team that is treated as a built-in juggernaut or something slightly less than that. And that is a yearly World Series aspiring team. And to your point, may even be getting a reputation as a team that's just like on cruise control or something, and the goal is the World Series. This team won 87 and 90 games in 2022 and 2023. Like, these were not juggernaut teams. I think they were, after the fact, viewed something like that because they dispatched with superior teams, Braves specifically, and very nearly, you know, I think at one point in the 22 World Series, it felt like it was leaning in the Phillies' favor, and that they were 2 wins away or whatever from actually winning the World Series. And we know that it didn't play out that way. Came back the next year. I think everybody thought they'd win that NLCS. It felt like it was tilting the Phillies' way, and then they didn't win the NLCS. And like, by record, this is the best Phillies team that's existed since the 2011 World Series. Or I'm sorry, the 2011 team that won 102 games and lost in the DS, which was the conclusion of that great run where they made the postseason 5 straight years. Like, so it's simultaneously like, okay, they only won 94 games, yet that may go down as the best, the second best, the third best record in all of baseball this year by the time we're said and done, whatever their eventual win total is. And it's also the best team regular season wise of this era of Phillies baseball. And yet it's viewed as like a cruise control follow-up to a 90-win season last year, which was a follow-up to an 87-win season the year before. Like, they've basically done nothing but get better since the COVID season, and by record in the regular season. And I think, like, in some senses, it's like the underdog conversation that we had, where it's like, I think you can craft underdog stories for almost all of these teams. I think you can craft sleeper like elements for all of these teams, because no team felt like they were the best team in baseball wire to wire this year. The Phillies felt like they might be that team for the first half or so of the season, but the second half didn't really play out that way, even if they are in the end the best record or something like that. So it's an interesting sort of contrast, I think, with the Phillies' perception and what's actually taken place on the field.
Yeah, I just, you know, as a now neutral fan, because I don't know if you noticed, Jayhay, but the Red Sox were eliminated from postseason contention.
I did. I didn't
night.
put it in the rundown, but, you know, just I figured that was addressed. But yeah. Tip of the cap.
Yeah,
good.
So,
you know,
got to tip your cap to them. Eliminated from postseason contention last night, so I will now be entering the postseason as a neutral fan for the 3rd straight year.
Well, I like that. I feel like this one. Yeah, selfishly.
Yeah. I mean, it's less stress for me. Like, it's almost like I need. Like, mentally need these breaks. Like, the postseasons that the Red Sox are in are so goddamn exhausting. Like 2018, I probably lost like close to 20 pounds during that run. 21 was a little less stress, but like I was at Fenway for every playoff home game except for the wild card game. So that was a lot. And the crash in November, it hits so differently. Like the 2019 November crash and the 2021 November crash were almost life-threatening. But these Novembers now, like as a neutral fan, it's like, yeah, like there's like a little bit of like a depression that the season's over and you don't have baseball, and like that's the consistent in your life, and then one day it's just gone. I think this year, above all previous years since we've been doing the podcast, I'm maybe the most excited for, just because of how balanced I guess the field is, and how I guess like there's a bunch of, like, you could pick a name out of a hat in the National League and make a case for why you think that team is going to win the World Series. And I don't think I could argue with you. Maybe in the American League, like there's more flawed teams in the American or coming out of the American League, but in the National League, like the top dogs, you can make a case for any one of those division winners, and some of the wild card teams like the Padres. And I would be like, yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Like if that's what you believe, then yeah, that makes sense to me.
So two things. I'm obviously a fan of Section 10. I'm rooting for it. Rising tide lifts all boats, right? But I am looking forward to the clarity that you're going to be able to bring on the postseason streams. I'm sorry, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Great.
With no Red Sox distraction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's just you get to dig in on all these 4 games, Tuesday and Wednesday, and we'll see about Thursday. And just give us that national Jared.
Yes.
With the flavor of Massachusetts, since we'll obviously
be stress-free. Jared is he's a different guy. You know, when the Red Sox are in the playoffs, it's like a dog with like their favorite toy. And it's like, if you come near it, there's like that. It's like, no, I just need to focus on this, and all my attention and energy is on this. Don't come near it. Don't talk to me about it. Don't look at it. Yeah, it's very stressful when the Red Sox are in the playoffs. So thank God I don't have to fucking deal with that again.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, again, a tip of the cap to them on definitely one of the seasons that were had by Major League Baseball teams this year.
They were there.
They finished. Well, I guess I shouldn't say they finished the schedule. Let's let them do that first.
Right.
But but to your other point, like, I've been on record on this podcast having a gripe about this idea that, the playoffs allow 6 teams in each league, and what is the regular season for and stuff like that. That bothers me way more in a season like maybe last year, where there were 100+ win quote unquote juggernauts or teams that felt elite entering the postseason, that I think were toppled in part because of the way that we set these postseasons up. And that not that I didn't enjoy the postseason, but that to me always leaves something of like a taste in my mouth, where it's like, man, there is a part of me that likes to see the best teams rewarded with championships. And that doesn't seem to be setting up to bother me in the same way this year, because I think you can argue that if one of these division winners loses to a team that snuck in or something via the wild card, well, how big of an upset is that really, given the lack of disparity in quality between a lot of these teams? Like, if I guess the most extreme example, right, in the AL would be something like, the Tigers upsetting. I mean, the Guardians may end up with the best record in the AL, if not Major League Baseball. So, like, would the Tigers upending the Guardians or the Tigers upending the Yankees be? Obviously, the Tigers doing it to the Yankees would have a certain feel to it, but it to me, it wouldn't feel like this totally unjustifiable insult to the integrity of the game, when we know we've spent all season talking about the parity that exists with these teams, and how we can't tell you who the best team is or who's the favorite going in, because you can make a case for 6 or 7 teams to be that team. And that makes it more interesting. That's why I'm excited about it. Just to be clear about what the point of that is, like, that makes me jazzed up for this, because a lot of these just could be real coin flips, genuine coin flips.
That makes it exciting for me.
Yes.
Give me the chaos. Yeah. Give me the videos of fans experiencing heartbreak. It's going to be a fun one. I'm excited for the predictions pod on Monday. Actually, we might have to I don't know what the fuck we're going to do, because are we going to have a bracket on Monday?
I mean, we still kind of need to see what plays out over the weekend, right? Like, I guess, yeah, I don't know, man. We might not have a bracket come Monday. Yeah.
That would be crazy.
Yeah, we may have to do a predictions pod where we don't know, I guess, one of the teams in.
Yeah, that would be chaos.
I think we would know the rest, but
yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe Monday is just special circumstances where we go at night to drop in the morning.
Sorry, you broke up there for a second, or I didn't catch you. What'd you say?
I said maybe Monday is one of those special circumstances where we have to go at night to drop Tuesday morning. I don't know, but what chaos for us.
Yeah, I mean, it all ties again back to, no offense, Mr. Rob. These have trickle down impacts, this lack of decision making, and one of those is that I may have to stay up late on Monday night, and wasn't planning on doing that. So we'll see what sort of calendar shuffling I can do. But shout out to Rob Manfred.
Yeah, the Kansas City Royals have won another baseball game, which is something that they didn't do pretty much all of last week.
Yep.
They
Big
are
of them to turn
in
it around.
Lockstep with the Detroit Tigers, who also have won again. It's fucking crazy what the Tigers are doing. Like, they're 10 games over 500. They were 4 games under like a month and a week ago. Like, it's fucking crazy.
Dude,
we have snapped their fingers and decided, like, hey, we're going to actually be a good team this year.
This is my point, man. Like, the Tigers are a game and a half behind the Astros. Not that matters for anything practical, but like, just in terms of like how we viewed these teams, like the Astros have been a foregone conclusion. We talk about them being like this, turn it on when they need to, juggernaut or whatever. They are a game and a half better than the Detroit Tigers. It's just, there's just no spread between these teams. And the Boston Red Sox, by the way, who we just talked about being outright eliminated from the playoffs, are only 4.5 games different from the Tigers. And that makes them 6 games behind the Astros. That's obviously a meaningful gap, but that's not some sort of massive disparity between World Series contender Astros and eliminated with time left on the clock Boston Red Sox. I don't know. Like, this to some extent happens every year, but I don't feel like it happens with the quantity that we're seeing this season. It really is setting up for some real potentially wild postseason matchups.
Yeah. I mean, the Twins, I know they won last night, but the Twins, it feels like they see the writing on the wall. Like, Tigers are getting in. It does feel like the Twins, like, I'm not actually calling them quitters or questioning their, competitive integrity, but it feels like a little bit of a letting go of the rope or losing of the rope situation where they just got tracked down by a team that was on a fucking mission.
On a mission, man. And like, I'm not like here to do like a which roster is better conversation. You could probably argue either way with some of these central teams, but we did spend, the Twins were let's not lose sight of the fact that the Twins were the overwhelming favorite to win the division entering the year, not to make the playoffs, to win the division in the AL Central. And they are almost certainly going to finish 4th. And the 5th wasn't available, right? Like, 5th was spoken for before the starting gun was fired, and they finished 4th, which, like, whatever, we can debate, how big of a disappointment is that in a season with so much parity where they'll finish a game or two out of the postseason. But like, that's a low level disaster for the Twins to not make the postseason in a year that is, we could debate whether this is a World Series contender, but this is in the window of when they're supposed to be something of a serious contender for things. And they've invested a lot in this roster by the Twins standards specifically. The trades for Pablo Lopez, things like the trades for Pablo Lopez. The Carlos Correa contract is the largest contract this franchise has ever given out. Byron Buxton got an extension. So it's the time for this team was supposed to be now, and it got passed by two teams in the Tigers and the Royals, whose times were supposed to be coming. And if I'm a Twins fan, that feels a little bit alarming. I think the Central is built in a way where any of these teams, you could shake it out and any of them could win the division in 2025. But kind of an underrated, disappointing campaign, I think, for the Twins, given the attention that we've spent on, how disappointing the Red Sox have been. Maybe the Mariners not making the postseason again, the Braves falling from behind or from ahead, and stuff like that. But the Twins are damn near as big of a disappointment results-wise as I think exists.
I'm looking at my preseason picks right now.
Yeah.
Do you happen to have yours handy? Probably not, right?
I don't. I remember division. I think I remember who I picked for each division.
Yeah. So I had the Orioles winning the East. That's not going to happen. I had the Twins winning the Central. That's not going to happen. I had the Astros winning the West. Good job.
Yep.
Good job. The wild card, 0 for 3. Mariners, Blue Jays, Rangers. Just struck out across the board. In the National League, the Braves, wrong. Cubs, wrong. Dodgers, probably going to be right. The wild card, Phillies, okay, they're getting in. They were going to win the division. The Giants, wrong. Padres, winner. But that American League just...
That's a bloodbath. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm not going to say that on the whole mine was better. I do believe that I took the Guards to win the Central.
You did.
So that's going to age well. I do think I had the Yankees in a postseason spot. But maybe I did, maybe I didn't. But yeah, that'll be fun to look back on. Those are always tough. I am glad that I stayed away from the siren song of the Toronto Blue Jays, though. It's not good. Not good for them.
I just loved that rotation.
Yeah. Well, I guess it was kind of a mixed bag this year. Gausman getting off to such a slow start was such a killer. For them. But yeah,
Vladdy's going to end up with fucking almost 200 hits. He's like 3 away from 200 hits.
Yeah. I mean, he's fully bounced back. Obviously, my Billy Butler jokes are less funny now, but he's had a tremendous season and certainly gives them something to be exciting about moving forward. I just wonder, and what, right? What is this leading to? Because the other people who were supposed to be, tent poles are just not those guys. I just think the Bo Bichette thing is, is he going to have a long career? Yes. Could he develop into a better player than he was this season? I would almost certainly think so. Feels like a dead cat bounce sort of thing, but he was supposed to be like an all-star, down ballot MVP type of guy. And that's obviously not happening. So now you look around the roster and it's like, great, Vlad's back. Vlad is fully back, fully optimized. And the rest of this team stinks, and the rotation could be interesting again next season. Where do we all go from here? So most of the Blue Jays fans who got in my mentions about the Billy Butler thing, once Vlad was established as back, insisted that this isn't a rebuild. So they're obviously more plugged in than I am. So, okay. But
okay.
But what? No, what is it then? Is it just another 4th or 5th place finish? Because that to me feels like where we're headed. The Rays and Red Sox feel like they're definitely going to be as good or better than they were this season, next season. And unless the Yankees lose Juan Soto and do not replace him in any meaningful way, I don't really understand how the Yankees are going to be in the Blue Jays territory. So, I know we're just riffing here at this point, but I don't really understand how the Blue Jays aren't a last place team on paper entering next season.
Would you trade Vladdy this winter?
I can understand both things. Like if there's no appetite for a full on teardown, which I certainly understand, there is a part of me that would be inclined to just extend him and pay him and try and have at least one attraction on the team as we do our best to rebuild the rest of the roster. I don't think that trading Vlad Jr. is going to return so much that it fixes your problems and puts you on a path towards like an entirely different trajectory than they're on now. It would obviously make them a better farm system and put them in a better spot. But like I would, now that he is seems to be a guy who, I don't know what he'll finish, but finished 7th, 8th in the MVP or whatever in the AL this year, and has the star wattage that he has. I think I would lean towards not trading him. I just don't know. That to me is almost, my own answer is unsatisfactory, because then the follow-up question is still, okay, then what? And I don't really have that answer. The easy answer is tear it all down and try and build something better. But like, that's also uncreative. So I don't want to trade a star player that's homegrown, that everybody loves, and who is now back to being awesome. So
I think if you're the Blue Jays, the answer is this is the guy that we build around.
Yeah.
I don't know that he's interested in being the guy that is built around. I think he's like, I bounce back. I have a MVP runner up in the tank. Let's see what's out there in free agency. At that point, I'm waiting for free agency. That doesn't mean I'm writing off coming back to Toronto, but I don't know that I'm talking extension going into next year, given what the state of the Toronto Blue Jays is right now. But we'll see. Something to keep an eye on. We're a year away. I will not hit on any of my awards picks.
Yeah, that was, I mean, I've chirped a little here and there about picking Bobby Witt Jr. to win the MVP, which feels like it's going to be one of those really, really awesome perceptive decisions that results in nothing, because I don't think he's going to win. So that's a sexy, cool thing. But if it was a bet, I wouldn't win. So that's one of the ones that I also, I think I took Corbin Carroll to win the NL MVP, which has gone from a disastrous pick to just something that's not going to happen. And I think Logan Webb to win, and George Kirby to win the Cy Youngs, which are also in the general category of certainly not disastrous picks, but also things that will not happen. So,
yeah, my Adley Rutschman American League MVP pick not going to hold up. Luis Castillo for Cy Young, probably not going to get it done. Wyatt Langford, Rookie of the Year, not going to happen. Bruce Bochy, Manager of the Year, definitely not happening. Comeback Player of the Year, Trevor Story, that's certainly not going to get it done. Mookie Betts MVP, nope. Logan Webb, nope. Rookie of the Year, Jackson Churio. Pick the wrong Jackson. Yeah.
Well, wait, you picked Jackson Churio? That to me feels like it deserves, like a nice little tip of the cap there. That's a nice cap. I know he was obviously a super prospect and a buzzy name, but what's he going to finish? Second? Third?
Yeah,
probably third, right?
Second or third. Well, yeah, Skenes.
Yeah.
Manager of the Year, Craig Counsell. Nope. NL Comeback Player of the Year, Edwin Diaz. Definitely nope. Yeah, so I think I'll strike out across the board on my awards picks. But that's okay.
I don't remember who my Manager of the Year picks were. Maybe that's where I'll be saved. Maybe I magically picked the Manager of the Year.
I think you picked Stephen Vogt.
That would be so cool if I did.
I think you did, because I had Stephen Vogt written down, and then I was like, nah, like for the guards aren't going to be good. Like that logic would follow though. I hope I was consistent, because if I picked the guards to win the division, it would have followed for me to pick Stephen Vogt to win Manager of the Year. So I believe you did.
If I didn't do that, then that's on me 100%.
I actually did not see this, but the Reds bunted to break up a perfect game last night versus the guards.
Yeah. So I'm not going to do like,
what inning are we talking?
7th.
Oh,
combined. So that's where the wrinkle is.
Oh,
It's
all
like,
right, yeah, fuck them then. Yeah, what was the score?
Okay. What was the score at the time? It was 5-4 nothing, 5 nothing.
I was gonna say probably anything north of 4 is probably my.
It was 2. Sorry, it was. So sorry, I had the innings mixed up. The Guardians put the 3 up in the 8th. It was 2 nothing at the time. They broke it up. They scored. The Reds, being they, scored in the 7th to make it 2-1. And then would make it 2-2, and then Cleveland rallied. So it was a tight game. So like
I've got no problem with that. A combined
that's where
perfect
the
game,
was.
suck my dick. I don't care.
Yeah. I think that's where I ultimately land too. Like I do draw a line between a perfect game and a no-hitter for lots of different things, but I think the combined element throws it out. And the fact that, like, you know, what you can say, this stuff doesn't matter, but they were playing for the Ohio Cup, and I don't care about that personally. I don't know how much the players care about it. But you know, the Reds haven't won that since, I mean, before either of us had children. And before I knew Jake. They haven't won it in 10 years, 10 plus years. So 10 or 11, I guess it's 11 now. So it's maybe they were trying to grab a win in the series instead of getting swept, but tough look. Obviously the Reds are playing under an interim situation. So, you know, trying to be a little fiery, trying to show some of that post-firing life. But you know, the guards own Ohio right now. And we can have a separate conversation about, is owning Ohio a good thing? Is that something that you would even want to do? But they own it, and Cincinnati's in a tough way right now.
The Baltimore Orioles have taken the first 2 games of this series here against the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
They're 8-4 against the Yankees this year. I don't know what the percentage chances are, but if the Orioles win out and the Yankees lose out, the Orioles could win the division, and that would make my pick correct.
That would be awesome, just to see the angst that would occur in the New York fan base. Like that would be like print the t-shirts sort of angst. Obviously it's not almost certainly not going to happen. To me, the whole situation, both that the Orioles have taken back-to-back games at this point in the season, given the vibes and the trajectory that those teams were on prior to those 2 games, and the fact that it just speaks to the parity that we were talking about before, where it's like the Orioles felt like they were in the dumpster like last week, and now we're on this Thursday podcast talking about, hey, they've taken back-to-back games off of the Yankees, who were just cruising to their most recent division title. Now, hey man, like if we win out, lose out, like, hey, we could be back in the driver's seat for this division. Like it's just, it's the 2024 baseball season, man. And it's, that's why it's been magical and could be magical.
Yeah. We'd hate to see some shit like that happen.
No, that would be, oh gosh. Oh, no, I don't even put it into the ether, my friend.
No.
I wouldn't, the idea that the Yankees could lose 4 straight, more games to make it 6 straight to end the season. And that the Orioles could win 6 straight, including 4 more. I don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. I hope that doesn't happen. Jake, don't let us show up on Monday talking about the Yankees blowing the division, losing 4 straight. Don't let us talk about that.
Jake, book the Yankees losing 4 straight, the Orioles winning 4 straight. Yeah.
Yeah, just book them. Yeah, that would be a sad day.
Gosh, that'd be so cool.
I mean, when's the last time something crazy like that happened?
Judge and Soto.
Oh yeah, like it's like game 1 of the wild card. They're doing the lineups and just booing the shit out of the Yankees. Everybody shouldn't be here.
Yeah, they burned all their best starting pitchers to not lose the division. So some total asshat is starting game 1.
Yeah, Sean Chacon is starting for the Yankees.
Good callback. Good callback.
Yeah, that would be something. But the other news here Let's give a little love to Jackson Jobe.
Sure.
Jackson Jobe closing out the game last night for the Detroit Tigers. It wasn't close. It was a 7-1 ball game, but this was the first round, 3rd overall pick by the Tigers in the 2021 draft. Right-handed pitcher out of high school, who throws 99 miles an hour. And the Tigers said, fuck it. We've got our top pitching prospect. And I mean, this is, basically what the Rays did in 2008. They were just like, we've sucked forever. We're finally good. Here's our top pitching prospect, and he's coming out of the bullpen. Like, why not? Fuck it. That's what the Tigers just did by calling up Jackson Jobe, having him go out there and chuck 99 out of the bullpen. And so far, so good. I mean, there was most of the outs were on the ground, but we'll take it. Whatever. Have him go out there and be a contributor to a team that is playing with house money. Nobody had the Tigers making the postseason. So, all right, we've got weapons. Let's use them. Why keep them stashed? Why play for the future at this point? Like the chances of this happening again, it's lightning in a bottle. Like the run that they've been on. What are they like? At this point, what are they? 22-8 or something like that. I'm gonna look it up. The run that the Tigers have been on since August, I believe 23rd was the starting point. The Detroit Tigers are 22-8. Yeah.
To me, this is awesome. Obviously to see the top or whatever number pitching prospect you want to say that he is, depending on the service that's ranking. But one of the very best pitching prospects in baseball, one of the very best prospects in baseball, make his debut late in the season is awesome. That he received the sort of greeting that he did when he came into the game was also super cool and reminded you of the electricity that's going on in Detroit with the run that they've been on that you talked about. I just think it's what you hope for, that a team is playing well enough to force the front offices or ownership's hand to promote a guy like this. And my understanding is that depending on what they decide to do, this is a guy we could see in the postseason too. I know you mentioned the David Price element, and there was some confusion over whether Jobe would be eligible given the timing of his call-up. The answer seems to be definitely yes. And that's also very exciting because, to your point, not that those are signature memories necessarily, but I remember some of those flashbulb moments where guys who were not yet household names came up as pitchers basically leading into the postseason and then were one of, if not the stories of those postseasons. You mentioned David Price. I'm old enough to remember K-Rod, Francisco Rodriguez. What
about Mad Bum in 2010?
Mad Bum, another example. Like it is very cool, and it can raise the profile of these people significantly. And Jackson Jobe may very well be.
Was he like fucking Madison Bumgarner in 2010 had to be like 21 years old?
Yeah, he would have been very young.
Madison Bumgarner was 20.
There you go.
Yeah.
20 years old, and he ended up throwing what? About 20 innings that postseason.
I believe he pitched in the clincher against
meaningful
Cliff Lee.
Stuff.
Yeah, he threw 8 innings in one start. Yeah, 8 innings in the World Series. 6 2/3 against the Phillies in the NLCS. And 6 innings. He threw 1 start in each round. 6 innings, 6 2/3, 8 innings. And he was fucking 20. Crazy. Like when I think back to that MVP run that he had in 2014 where he went into God mode, like Mad Bum in my mind is like a grizzly, like 35-year-old, just like, but he was 24.
It's crazy, right? He was done as an effective pitcher by 29.
Yeah.
29 and out of the game by 33. Like, people have been like, hey, what's Mad Bum's Hall of Fame case? Mad Bum has no Hall of Fame case, like, respectfully.
No.
And again, one of the legends of postseason baseball and had some real moments in the regular season. But like listen, I'm not 1-to-1, but like, you have to wonder at some point whether the toll of that stuff that he did early on in his career and the heroics that he performed, whether he might still be pitching. If not for that, I'm assuming that he would make that trade all the time. But
sure.
Madison Bumgarner, also not a guy who, landed a $300 million contract or something like that. So got plenty of money, not shedding any tears, but a fascinating career, given, how quickly it started and in some ways how quickly it was over.
What would you guess his career earnings were, Jayhay?
So he got, I think that D-backs contract was like, you don't have to correct me or whatever, but I think it was like $490 or something like that, or $400, I want to say. So he probably made, I'm going to say $165 million.
128.5.
Okay, not that close.
So he's fine.
Yeah, no doubt. A lot of you can buy a lot of horses, or whatever he wants to do, a lot of cows,
whatever he wants to do,
whatever. Yeah. Bulls.
Yeah, he's got all kinds of shit going on over there. We now know that Grayson Rodriguez is donezo.
Yeah, it felt like it was just waiting for the news, right?
Yeah, we were at that point where it's like, if we haven't seen him by now, we're probably not gonna. Especially, I mean, now that the Orioles if they win out and the Yankees lose out, they're going to win the division. You're probably not trotting Grayson Rodriguez out there in early playoff games or playoff games at all if he hasn't seen them out. So confirming what we already knew, but the Orioles are now without Grayson Rodriguez. How does that make you feel about the Orioles next month?
I'd already sort of baked this into the cake in my thinking about the Orioles. It really impacts my perception of the Orioles. If you had told me this back in May or June, but I wasn't expecting him to be a significant contributor given the timing of how everything was lining up, even if he got back healthy. So almost no impact on my perception of the Orioles at this point. But it is a really disappointing turn of events relative to where we sat at the beginning of the season and at points during the season when he looked like he was, really rounding into form. So the Burns, Grayson Rodriguez 1-2 punch is not entering the postseason in the state that Orioles fans had hoped. And I do think that is a meaningful element to their World Series chances or not. And then obviously you got to worry about his health moving forward. But I mean, there's the worrying about his health moving forward. Like, what is Grayson Rodriguez moving forward? But the here and now, I think is significantly impacts their postseason chances relative to where they were early on.
The Nestor Cortez news, it's whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that, I mean, who does that make your game 2 starter? Does that make Marcus Stroman your game 2 starter? Is it Carlos Rodon? Like, who's your game 2 starter if you're the Yankees?
I mean, I think it would be Heel or Rodon, right?
Clark Schmidt.
I don't think Marcus Stroman is a candidate for the game 2 start. That would be my opinion. Maybe I have a terrible read on the situation. My question would be asking, is Marcus Stroman getting a postseason start? I mean, why? Because he's on the team. Like, I guess that's the good enough reason. I know he's been okay. But his last start was a fucking disaster against the Orioles yesterday. And I have little to no faith in him in the postseason hothouse. Not because of temperament, just because of results. But yeah, I think I would definitely lean Rodon or Heel. I would actually choose Schmidt over Stroman too.
Yeah, I mean Schmidt's pitched great.
Yeah. And feels like a more natural, like, get him in for 3 innings, get him out, get to the bullpen sort of thing. Like, there's too much bat to ball with Marcus Stroman now and just in general. And I would try to avoid that, which is a tough turn of events for what they signed him for.
Clark Schmidt. Where did he go? He went a couple days ago. Yeah, I mean, like, he's been steady Eddie this year. He hasn't allowed more than 3 earned runs in a start. Like, he obviously is coming back from injury, but even since coming back, it's, if you can give me a 5 and dive Clark Schmidt, I mean, that's pretty much what he is anyway. Like, I understand, he hasn't pitched since the end of May.
Yeah.
He's made 4 starts since coming back. It's a 2.61 ERA since returning. 21 strikeouts in 20 and 2/3 innings. Only 2 home runs allowed. Like, why not Clark Schmidt? I mean, I don't know that that's game 2 starter stuff, but like, he's got to get a start. No.
Well, I think any of these guys feel like at least a little bit of reaches. I mean, this is why you can probably make a case for any of them. Rodon has a 1.93 ERA in 4 starts in September. Like, he's probably sitting there thinking, I'm pitching my best baseball of the season. I am, I believe, the second highest paid pitcher on the team. So, like, how about me? And then Luis Gil is probably thinking, well, I've probably been the best pitcher on this team this season. When you look at it from both a bulk and a quality standpoint, the combination of the two, like, I would guess that Gil is still their highest performing pitcher. Fangraphs has Nestor Cortez ahead, which is obviously not relevant to this conversation. So I think any of those guys is a viable option. I just wouldn't. The only thing I feel passionately about is that it's not Stroman.
Yeah.
He's clearly worse than these guys. So let's not pitch him when we don't have to.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I am with you. I just hope Clark Schmidt gets some shine. Paul Skenes was shouting out the Pittsburgh Pirates for the way that they handled it. I know that we were a little bit critical of it. I mean, I think I understood it. I think a lot of us understood it, but it was more just like, how much more, I guess, experience down there does he need before we give him the call up? I think the process was fine. I think the length of it was probably what we were more criticizing. But Skenes was like, yeah, no, I credit to them for that.
I was certainly critical of the amount of time it took them to promote him to the majors. Unfortunately, I can't prove a negative. So there's no way for me to, this is part of the problem with arguing either side of the call-up, non-call-up thing. Jackson Holliday, Paul Skenes being the 2 examples this year, where it's like, I can't prove what would have happened in the alternate reality. So in some sense, you just have to eat what the result is. And the result on Paul Skenes was an absolutely phenomenal rookie season that exceeded any reasonable expectation for how he might perform. So I personally still think that it was a little bit borderline ridiculous how long he was in the minor leagues. That's also not really relevant anymore. And the element of, well, did them leaving him in the minors for the first 6 weeks of the season, did that cost them anything in the end? And, in some part by their own design, the answer is also no. The Pirates weren't good enough. They were not in any real postseason picture. And so, keeping Skenes down didn't matter in that sense. There's a chicken and an egg thing going on there with team quality and stuff like that. But I think in the end, if Paul Skenes is happy with it, then that to me kind of puts a bow and wraps up that conversation. Even if I think that they still could have gotten him up a little bit earlier, it just doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think to me it was more so that they weren't letting him go down there. It was like, where are the 85 pitch 5 to 6 inning starts down there? It was just kind of odd that they weren't really building him up. They were just kind of like letting him go in 2-3 innings, whatever it was. But if you had told me at the beginning of the year that Is he? I haven't looked at the probables for this weekend. Is he done?
I also haven't looked, to be honest.
Let me see. Even if he has one more start, I mean, it still falls like right in where it would have been the sweet spot for me. Yeah, so they're going up against the Yankees. They haven't named a starter. I don't, without looking, I don't know when his last start was, but as of today, 22 starts, 131 innings pitched. And yeah, like if you had told me like that's what his rookie season was going to look like in terms of workload, I wouldn't have scratched my head and been like, really, that's it? You know, like I feel like that's the 22 to 25 start range is probably where I would have landed in terms of expectation, and he's right in there.
Well, the Jackson Holiday element too is interesting in terms of like criticizing these decisions before or after the fact. Like I'm not so sure like where the Pirates situation has been justified. Like the Pirates plan seems to have worked. They get to take a victory lap on that if they want to. All good. The Jackson Holiday side of things, like that they kept him back down to bake a little bit longer and then brought him back up. And since he's been up, he's hitting 195 with a 595 OPS in 162 plate appearances. Like to me, the Orioles calling or bringing him up when they did earlier, like that, the Orioles decision-making tree hasn't been justified. So like, I think that is still ripe for, you know, people who are on one side or the other to kind of argue that out if they want to. But like the Paul Skenes thing, the Pirates can take the dub there.
If my math is correct, normal rest would be if he went on Friday tomorrow.
Well, if my math is
certainly
correct,
doesn't help in the pursuit of the Orioles division title this year.
No, that won't help. Although you figure he's only good for, you know, a couple of, you know, he's not going to go 7-8 innings. It's also a good time to download the Underdog Fantasy app, though.
Yeah.
Get up to $1,000 in bonus cash and a special pick on Underdog. It's promo code Jared. There's a Patrick Mahomes free pick that's available until kickoff on Sunday. It's over 0.5 yards. That's the threshold that he needs to hit. I looked quickly, did some research. He's hit 1 yard in every single game that he's ever started. So that feels like a really, really good opportunity. If you were hesitating about getting on the Underdog train, go ahead and hop on and Patrick Mahomes free pick.
Wow. I love a free
Jared.
pick. Promo code Jared, Jared. Jared. Okay. The last thing we got here is that it's an 18-year-old kid, right? That is suing.
Yes.
An 18-year-old kid is suing to stop the auction of the Shohei Ohtani home run ball that got him to 50-50. And his claim is that the guy who ended up with the baseball stole it from him. If you watch the video, it's kind of funny. Like the guy who ends up with the baseball stands up and he holds it up in the air. And then the 18-year-old kid is like holding his hands out like, what the fuck? And the guy who has the ball is like, oh, you're dapping me up. Yeah. Like daps the kid up. And then if you can make it out at the very end of the video, I'm pretty sure the 18-year-old kid was like, it's my birthday. Like, who gives a fuck about your birthday? Yeah, oh, it's your birthday? Here's a baseball that's going to go for auction at fucking $2 million or whatever it's going to get. Oh, it's your birthday? I didn't realize. Yeah, here's a baseball that's going to have life-changing money ramifications for me and my family. You can just have it. Oh, happy birthday, kid that I don't know. Yeah, he's not going to win this, but you can't hate him for trying, right?
I'm going to go a step further. So obviously taking the accusation or his characterization of events at face value is risky, but the document that was on Reddit also included photos. And I'm going to say that if this obviously older man, not old man, but older than this kid, wrapped his legs around this kid's arm to lock his hand in so that he could pry the baseball out of this 18-year-old's hands, not only do I think that the 18-year-old should be retroactively rewarded the ball and or rewarded the proceeds from the auction if it does go through without being stopped. I think this other dude should be prosecuted. This is crazy.
Ooh, for assault.
Like
I didn't see the pictures. Where are these pictures?
It's in the link. The actual PDF the thing that I sent is an actual PDF, and it says it's not an official court document, but it does appear to be something that was filed on behalf of him. And
not official court document. Okay.
Like halfway down, second page, third page, something like that. There's
you see so these imagery. Are just screenshots from the video that I'm talking about.
Yeah. So listen, big if, right? But like if he locked his arm in and pried the baseball out of his hand, that to me is like some level of theft. And it's not a complete, just because something of value is on the loose doesn't mean that it is a total free-for-all in how you can behave. And I think it's particularly disgusting. I'm not trying to be grandstanding here. It's like, it's very unsettling for a grown man to react that way to a baseball that's been hit into the outfield. I know it's $500,000. That's what the service anticipated it would bring. If I'm the 18-year-old, I'm absolutely filing this. Like, that's life-changing money, presumably, for anyone, particularly somebody of that age, I would imagine. And like, if he had the ball in his hands, then he gets it. You can't just rip things out of other people's hands and take them. I guess you can, but then you may be subject to this sort of situation. So if this Belansky dude did what he's being accused of, fuck that guy. Like, seriously, fuck that guy. I hope he gets nothing out of this.
I'm looking at the pictures. I can't see what he's describing. Like, there's obviously a tussle for it, and a grown man is going to have the advantage over a teenage boy. But I'm not seeing this kid have possession of the ball and the guy ripping it from his hand. I'm not seeing that.
Well, that's now something for the courts to decide, Jared. And currently, I'm with Mr. Max Matus, and you can be on the side of Chris Belansky. It sounds like, so that's fine. We'll see who comes out.
I'm not on his side. I'm on the side of I need a better angle.
I would prefer that there's a better angle too.
Yeah, if this is what happened, then give me better proof.
Why don't they just split the proceeds then? That's what any classy person would do. We'll see whether class prevails. Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. No, I don't see that being the case. Obviously, no Family Feud today with Dallas being in Oakland for the final game at the Coliseum. Maybe we'll do Feud on Monday.
Yeah, that sounds great. We can absolutely do that.
Yeah, let's do Family Feud on Monday when Dallas gets back, and we can unpack the final day at the Coliseum, and we'll obviously do some finality talk to the 2024 Major League Baseball season. And if we have to go at night, we'll have to go at night. It is what it is. It's a special circumstance given the scheduling and all that nonsense. But Jayhay had to dip yesterday, so we're gonna double dip with the Nuggs today, Justin Haven.
Yep. So we got a nice little batch here. Going to do some individual stuff first, and then I want to get to some team stuff since I wasn't here for the postseason clinching conversation yesterday, and there were some notable ones that I wanted to hit on. So Emmanuel Clase, we'd been tracking this. He got his 47th save. That sets the Guardians franchise record, passing Jose Mesa's 1995 season where he had 46. Clase, Mesa's season looked pretty awesome, and he had just a sub-2 ERA. Clase obviously operating with a sub-1. So he will, I believe he's also set to be the first pitcher in baseball, if not the American League, to lead baseball in saves for 3 straight seasons. Yeah. So I would have thought that was done before, but obviously saves are also about opportunities. And Emmanuel Clase is wrapping up a 4-year stretch where he has a 1.62 ERA in 296 appearances. That's just unbelievable. Like I know we've seen impressive closer stretches before, and Kimbrel's had his, and Gagne and K-Rod and all these sorts of things. But what Clase is doing, particularly without the gaudy strikeout numbers, is to me as impressive as anything we've ever seen outside of Mo. The Aaron Judge, it was the 21st season in Major League Baseball history to feature 56 or more homers when he homered prior to last podcast. But he joined Ken Griffey Jr. as the only players in Major League Baseball history to have multiple seasons of 55 or more homers and 10 or more stolen bases. So Judge and Griffey Jr., the only people to ever have that combination of homers and stolen bases. Willie Adames, talk about a dude who's set to get paid. Second shortstop ever with a 30 homer, 20 stolen base, and 110 RBI season. He hit that 20th stolen base on what would have been Tuesday, joining A-Rod, who did so in consecutive seasons in both 1998 and 1999. So good for Willie Adames having his best season in his walk year. Michael Harris, he's been brought up. He is just on an absolute heater. Whether you go back to his last 13 games where he has a .417 batting average, 7 homers, and a 1288 OPS, or whether you go back to his last 7 games where he's hitting .486 with 5 homers and a 1500 OPS, he's obviously kicking ass. Shohei Ohtani tied Ichiro Suzuki for the most stolen bases by a Japanese-born player in Major League Baseball history. As if we needed new ways to shine light on how awesome Ohtani's season is. Ohtani has 56 stolen bases with 53 home runs. Ichiro had 56 stolen bases with 8 home runs. So not to take anything away from Ichiro Suzuki, but as we all know, this is a completely different type of ball player. And if you're wondering, which I was, about stolen base efficiency, let me tell you that Ichiro Suzuki stole 56 bases with 14 caught stealings. Shohei has been caught 4 times this season. That's the other part that people aren't talking about. I mean, whatever. It's like a laundry list of things you could talk about with Shohei. By the time you get to stolen base efficiency, everybody's asleep. But the 56 out of 60 is absolutely crazy, and it's going to be one of the things that I hit at the end of the season on Monday in terms of all-time stolen base efficiency with that level of stolen bases. It's going to be historic, as if he needed one more thing. Some team notes. The Orioles, I know we've talked about how disappointing the second half has been, but we also shouldn't lose sight of the fact that this is their first time making the postseason in consecutive seasons since 1996 to 1997. So this does mean something, making the postseason in consecutive years. And while I know the goal is a World Series, I don't like pretending like this stuff doesn't matter, because it does. The Guards, given some love, 6th postseason appearance in the last 9 seasons, and the second time in the last 3 winning the division. They have one finish outside of the top 2 in the AL Central since 2016. So the more things change, the more they stay the same in the AL Central. The Astros, 4th straight AL West title and 7th in the last 8 seasons. I know we hit on this a little bit with the Buster stuff, so I'm not going to belabor it, but we are still looking. I know this is a diminished version, but that happens over runs this long. We are still looking at one of, if not the greatest division-based run in kind of wild card era baseball history. It's just 7 division titles in 8 seasons outside of basically the Braves and the Dodgers and what they're currently doing. It just doesn't happen. Padres, another team that, I know the goals are higher, but needs to be appreciated for what it is. 3rd postseason appearance in the last 5 seasons. As a reminder, they had 0 postseason appearances from 2007 to 19, 13 seasons without a postseason appearance. And this is the first time they've ever made the postseason 3 times over any 5-season span. So the standards are different for each franchise, but the Padres doing what they're doing, just like what the Orioles have done, deserves to be shouted out. So those are the nugs that I wanted to hit on, and it's been fun doing a little JJJ hour here.
Yeah.
Hour and a half.
I feel like we haven't really done this for a full show, and God knows how long, if ever.
No, this has been good. I hope the listeners enjoyed it. At least it's a little bit of a switch up. I know I was short on the other 2 podcasts this week, so it's been nice to kind of riff with you.
Well, you're on vacation.
I know, but still grinding, baby. Nose to the grindstone, ear to the streets, all that sort of good stuff.
That's what they say. Jake's takes.
Yeah, Jayhay's video essay just dropped honoring the Oakland A's. Make sure to check that out on the Underdog MLB YouTube channel. And best of luck to our boys out there today, Dallas and Mike.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was going to be my final thought. I just saw it dropped like 35 minutes ago. So head on over to the Underdog Baseball YouTube channel and check that out. A lot of hard work goes into that stuff, and it's reflected in the quality of the content.
Thank you very much. My final thought, I was remiss and got carried away earlier. I do want to shout out Corey as well, who, in addition to Jeremy, puts a lot of work into these video essays from a graphic standpoint and contributes editorially as well. So, yeah, shout out to both of those guys who I definitely appreciate their hard work. And I would say for a variety of reasons, just to reiterate, I think this is the video essay I'm most proud of. It was the most work from everybody who put it into it. And I am hoping that it is the most meaningful for the people that watch it. So go Oakland A's. Be awesome to see them finish out with a win.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. We appreciate all the support. It's about that time. Postseason baseball is right around the corner, beginning next week with 3 straight streams. What's today? Today is the 26th. Yeah. So what does it start on? Wednesday? No.
The postseason? No, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of next week. We will be coming at you with live streams nonstop for the wild card round. So be on the lookout for that. Yes, Jay?
No, I was just going to say, and if you're looking for an absolute cutoff deadline for when you should sign up for the Underdog Fantasy app with the promo code Jared, it would be Tuesday before that stream. Like, I would not wait 1 second longer than absolutely latest would be then. But if you want to take advantage of the Mahomes free pick, then obviously it's kickoff on Sunday, promo code Jared.
Absolutely, promo code Jared. All right, guys. Thank you all. And buckle up because we're about to jam a bunch of content right up your ass. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.